Okay. So I was saying, never trust airplane gauges. Not now, Siri. Siri. Was that Siri or was that?
Hey Siri.
Hey Siri. Sorry. Siri, listen up. Okay, let's get serious. I don't trust these gauges. Remember that a lot of our general aviation aircraft are rather old. I have a fairly new aircraft built in 1977, which would make it 45 years old. So, yeah. So, I guess I first figured that out when we had a customer brought an airplane to us and said, "Look, I've had it to 3 different shops, and I have a problem. It runs hot. It's just no sooner do I take off, my oil pressure is off into the red. I just can't fly this thing hardly because the oil temperatures are so high. You got to fix it. What can you do? Well, probably it's the engine baffle. We seal the engine baffle, seal it so that I put a new engine baffle on there. Well, maybe your metal part has some cracks or something. You say, it's been already sealed up and all the cracks are fixed, and well, what kind of oil are you running? I'm running, no, that's not that. It's got to be something else. Probably need an overhaul, dang it. Okay, bring your airplane in, we'll take a look at it. So, do the obvious things. Was the engine baffling, the rubber seals that set right, so it's get all the air is going through and cooling. I've had an oil cooler. Oh, yeah, that's it. We have to overhaul and have your oil cooler flushed. Already been done. Well, your Vernotherm valve. It's a valve that when it is cold, it shrinks. When it gets hot, it expands. And we'll talk more about oil, but when it's cold, it shrinks, and as it shrinks down, it lets oil circulate through the engine like normal. And as it starts to heat up and swells, it blocks off the passage that just goes back to the engine and forces it through the oil cooler. So, maybe you got a bad Vernotherm. I don't know how much these are, but the Vernotherm in my airplane, I just priced it out with $700. So, no, I put a brand new Vernotherm in it already too. And we overhauled that oil cooler. And I'm like, all right, bring it in, take a look at it. So, make sure timing's good, make sure everything, was done fine. And so what I did is I took some oil and engine oil and I put it in a coffee can, and we had a hot plate. Or I took a torch and just heated it up over the airplane. I pulled out the oil temperature probe, and my friend Steve, we need a really good thermometer. He goes, my wife has one for making candy. I'll bring it in. And he calibrated it home. He boiled some water, put it in. 212, perfect, calibrated. Okay, calibrated. So he brought in his wife's brand new candy thermometer. So, so what we did is got in there, and he's stirring it, and he would stir it and put the temperature probe of the airplane. We're stirring and watching it, and I'd go inside. He would call out the temp. A lot of oil temperature gauges in aircraft, they don't always have it marked real well. So, like I would say, I'm at the O, and I would write down on the card, O equals this much. I'm at the I, so it's OILTEMP. That'd make every letter assigned to something. We got done doing it on this one airplane. I'm like, not only is this engine not running hot, it's actually running colder than it should be. Oil needs to be up to 180 degrees to boil off the water. So I had to call him up and go, yeah, actually you're running too cold. We need to tape up your oil cooler because you don't have an overheat problem, you have an under. So the gauge was bad. And then I started reading a bunch of stuff and found out that tachometers are really bad. They are notoriously way off. So that was one of the first things I checked in my aircraft when I got it home is, first of all, I took off and it's like over red line. I'm like, oh God. Call the previous owner. I'm like, did you always fly it over red line? That's fine. It's not gonna hurt anything. I'm like, oh God. So, get a hand. So they make handheld tack checkers. They make some with batteries. Some you actually flick and it flicker. I don't know how to use it. Anyway, checked it. Of course, my tachometer was reading way higher than it really was. So no, it wasn't over speeding the engine at all. It was actually under speeding a little bit. I had to adjust it. So, but just don't trust your gauges in your airplane. They'll lie to you. I guess unless you have a brand new JPI, huh? Which one of you guys has the JPI? Yeah, I trust that one.
The result reads 100 RPM high.
Your JPI does?
No, the regular one does.
Oh, the regular one. Yeah, well, because I pulled mine out. But when I put the JPI in, which is all digital, then it runs off of a pickup sensor on mine for the Magneto. I checked it with a handheld. I mean, they are just absolutely perfect. So, anyway, so don't trust them. Let's see. This is kind of interesting to me. I'll let you kind of listen to this. So, Lycoming part numbers, and I thought it was fun. So I'll just read it to you since I have it. Word about Lycoming part numbers. Almost all Lycoming part numbers start with an LW. LW dash, I don't know, what the heck, I can't think of one now. 15782. That's not a part number, I just made it up. Lycoming part numbers begin with the numbers LW. For instance, the bolt that goes in the back of the crankshaft is LW 19649. LW 19649. I think they changed it, but anyway. I'm reading this off an article. Well, in days gone by, parts were made in a number of facilities around the country, and LW referred to a part made by the Lycoming and their Williamsport factory. Lycoming Williamsport factory. And apparently that's the only place they ever made it because it was never anything other than LW something or another. When Superior started making parts for Lycomings, guess what they called it? SL, thank you. I know. SL. So Superior, this would be SL 19649 with Superior. And then eventually ECI got in the business and they were an AEL 19649. So that's how that worked, thankfully. Let's see, simple. The new part numbering system was designed to drop that prefix in exchange for a system that more closely identifies the part. This is in case, well, now the same part number is a 13 Sierra 19649 bolt. So they really changed it where the 1 identifies the part being as a component of the power section. There's the 1. And the S, well, legendary instructor Jim Dobler was honest enough to admit that he wasn't sure what the S stood for, but the rest of the numbering was familiar enough that he didn't care. The wonders of modern databases. I remember who wrote that. That was the guy I was in the class with. The guy who wrote for it. So it came out of Kit Plains magazine, and Jim was the instructor we had. So anyway, if you cared, there you go. If you don't care, forget about it. It's not on the test. All right, what else do I got here? Winding it down. Oh, this was kind of fun.
Did you